Y'all, this is Lou Temple, Sheriff Winston from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Beginning, and you're listening to Don't Go Out There podcast, right where you want to be. You follow me?
Well, howdy, folks. It's your old pal, Captain Spaulding again. God bless America, and God bless Captain Spaulding.
In a world where zombies, ghosts, serial killers, and vampires all exist, it's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin, and they are all that stand between you and the films that could end the world. Welcome to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Review Podcast. Just want to thank all our fans and listeners. We're really excited about another film review. Before we get started, I just want to give a shout out to our social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search for @Don'tGoOutThere and you'll find us. Give a big quick shout out to our website, www.don'tgoouthere.com. We've got written blog entries. We've got all of our interviews and film reviews on the site. And we have an online store if you want to pick up any merch. Rep us if you want to. I mean, show some love. We appreciate it. And just want to give a quick shout out. Just give us a quick 5-star rating on iTunes. We really appreciate it. Whenever you search like horror movie review or horror movie podcast, we're one of the first few shows to pop up, which is awesome. It's kind of hard to believe that, we never thought that we'd be right at the top of iTunes in our niche, in our genre. That's awesome. We really appreciate the support, y'all. And tonight is Brother Dustin's pick. And in my opinion, this is the first real, true Rob Zombie movie that we are reviewing tonight. I mean, we've done his Halloween adaptation, but, that had a lot going. I don't believe that was truly Rob Zombie's what he wanted. The second one was, honestly. Dustin, do you want to go first on why you picked this and whatnot?
Yeah, sure. I'll go ahead. This is one of those movies that I saw when it initially came out. I was in high school at the time, and I'm not going to lie, I'm a big Rob Zombie fan. I remember seeing Rob Zombie on MTV Cribs and thinking this guy is so insanely awesome. Like he's an enigma. Like he's just got this charisma about him. Everything about him is fascinating to me. And then get into his movies and say what you will about the movies themselves, like the script, the screenplays, whatever. But his creative genius shines through in the way that the films are shot and produced and the cinematography. Like, I really am a Rob Zombie fan. So in the grand scheme of things, this is my favorite Rob Zombie film. I like the Firefly family, the story arc with them. There's 3 movies with them. They don't necessarily tie into each other, but they do. This one is my favorite of the 3. I've seen 3 from Hell finally. I've finally watched it. But Sid Haig, rest in peace, phenomenal performance, legendary performance as Captain Spaulding, and the ever beautiful Sherry Moon Zombie. So what's not to like, right? All right, I guess I'll leave that to you all to tell me what's not to like. But go ahead.
Mike, I'm gonna let Mike close this out. I'm gonna go next just because I feel like he's gonna say some more nice things than me. Never seen this movie. I'm just going to come. I know Devil's Rejects has a cult following. It's got some very loyal followers. I posted that picture on our Instagram, and it got more likes than damn near any picture I've ever posted. I used to work with a guy in my last job, huge Rob Zombie fan, and whenever I told him I wasn't a fan of House of 1,000 Corpses, it about broke his heart. He's a huge fan. So the love for Rob Zombie films is deep, and I get it. I get it. I'm just not a fan of his style, and I'm just not a fan of the style, really. Go ahead, Brian.
Well, I mean, it's been pretty well documented. I'm not a fan of Rob Zombie films, but with that said, I'd never seen Devil's Rejects up until this week. Was it as bad as I thought? Honestly, no. But, I love you, Dustin, but this just isn't my cup of tea, honestly. Like, you can definitely tell the influence of Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Manson family for sure. And to say it has an elite soundtrack is an understatement of all understatements. It has an elite soundtrack for sure. But, to me, it's your typical Rob Zombie movie, the white trash, snuff film, basically. And that just never has really been my taste. I mean, I love his music, but his movies just really aren't ever for me. That's all.
Okay.
I agree with a lot of what Brian said there. Great soundtrack. I mean, just one of the best horror movie soundtracks maybe ever. Like, I just love. I like what's considered classic rock, and even the ones that are old country. I think kind of fit the movie well. So really, really good soundtrack. So that's off the cuff there. I liked some of the acting in this movie, and we're gonna get into it. I think Sid Haig does do a great job. Rest in peace, Sid Haig. I think in his character Captain Spaulding, I think he does that really well. To me, this is still really green Sherry Moon Zombie. So I think she's actually, I know this is weird, but I think she's a better Michael Myers mom than she is in this movie. I just don't think her acting in this movie is any fucking good at all. But maybe it's on purpose. I don't know. But if I ever hear Chinese, Japanese, dirty knees, look at these again, I'm going to fucking punch somebody in the face. Jesus Christ.
Or Tutti Frutti.
Right. Yeah. Oh God. So we'll get to it. But overall on the movie, I'm mixed. I'm mixed because we talked about it during the Halloween episode. I think Rob Zombie has a really, really great horror movie in him if he let someone else write it. Because the directing in this movie, to me, is not bad. The way it's shot, the way it's made, it's dingy, it's grungy, it's dirty, but it's his style, and I can appreciate someone having a unique style. Now, like you said, Brian, he definitely takes influence from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, with the family aspect and all that stuff. But I like that movie for what it is too, so I respect that. But I just there's just the dialogue, and I know everyone talks about it, and I feel like I'm harping on it, but the dialogue really weighs this movie down for me. There's just not a lot of good talking. Like I don't like anybody, and I don't even like the people I'm supposed to like, and I don't like I like the Firefly family as characters throughout this series of movies, but I don't like them personally. Like, if I knew those people, I'd fucking hate them. Like, Otis is a piece of shit, murdering fuck, and Sherry Moon is annoying as hell as baby. I will give Captain Spaulding a little bit of credit. He really didn't fuck around. He just kind of punched somebody, and that was it. So I'll give him a little bit. And it's got my man Ken Foray in this movie. Shout out Joe Grizzly, bitch.
I will say this before we get into it any further. Maybe part of the reason this movie is so favorable for me is because these white trash redneck fucks may or may not remind me of some of the people I grew up with in East Tennessee. So,
Hey, to quote Joe Dirt, you mean you're so ingrained with white trash DNA? Your shit grows in all white trash like that?
I don't know what you're saying, but yes, that basically. So, and also, I can't believe that you're going to disparage Bill Moseley's acting in this movie.
I didn't
because
disparage the acting.
You said you didn't like any of the acting.
No.
The character. Okay. I may have misheard you because I think Bill Moseley. I think that he really is Otis. Like, if we're just being honest, that is so believable. So anyway,
I do agree with that.
Let's go on for y'all. Get me a little bit more hot.
I would love to have Bill Moseley on this podcast.
Me
by
too.
the way, that we're going to make that happen.
Only one bad acting job in the movie to me. One. Sticks out like a sore thumb.
You bite your tongue.
Sorry.
All right.
Sherry, call me sometime.
No, don't you dare. Don't you dare talk out of both sides of your mouth right now.
Hey, brother, he asked Sherry to call him about 20 episodes ago whenever we did Halloween.
No, I'm not saying don't have her call you because that's your spiel there. But don't you say she sucks, I can't stand her, but call me. No,
She
don't
sucks
get to have
in this movie. She's good as Michael Myers' mom to me. So there you go.
Chinese, Jap. Go ahead.
Do you even know Mike Settle?
But say
That's true.
You're supposed to know me, brother. Anyway, let's get started.
All right, before we jump into this film breakdown, I just want to apologize to the Devil's Rejects fans again. I really hope
say you're sorry to me.
I want to apologize to my good brother Dustin Franklin again too, because I took my notes with a jaded view, honestly. Like, if I thought you were annoying, I wrote your ass is annoying right there. So I might not give a lot of my thoughts after I read them, but you'll hear my thoughts whenever I read my notes. All right, let's jump into it. This is just the title screen. I think there's like a narrator reading this too. On May 18th, 1978, Sheriff Wydell, along with local authorities in Rugsville County, led a search and destroy mission on a decaying farmhouse. Collection of diaries. There's 75 murders. The family is known as the Devil's Rejects. And we see this as this movie starts as a dead, naked woman being dragged through the woods by a large, sack-headed person. It's Tiny, their brother, that we learn later on. He stops as he sees police cars. The cop cars show up to a house. Sheriff says they're performing a cleanse of the wicked. Everyone in the house wakes up and get guns. They all start firing at the sheriffs on the count of 3. They throw the cops throw tear gas into the house. Then the cops enter the house. They can't kill the Fireflies because they all have on metal armor. The mother runs to check on one of the Fireflies who are shot, but he's dead. She grabs a gun, she goes to shoot herself, but it's out of bullets. And then Otis and Baby, they run downstairs to the basement. This is where the opening credits start. I do kind of like the opening credits with the music. They get more guns, and we see all their captives down in the basement. The mom is arrested. Otis and Baby escape through a drain pipe. Baby fakes being hurt in the middle of the road so she and Otis can kill and steal a nice lady's car, I wrote. That's all I wrote down for the first opening scene. I kind of like the first opening scene. I had some stuff I didn't really care for. Dustin, this was your movie. Tell us about the opening, brother.
All right. So, yeah, I really like how the opening is shot as well. The film takes place in 78, and the way that it's filmed, the filter they put on, or however they filmed it, it looks like that gritty vintage footage. Like it looks like you're watching something from the 70s. That was really well done. William Forsythe, I think that he plays a very believable asshole cop. I thought he did a good job of that. He had some great lines in there when he's talking about we're here to do the Lord's work, or the lines he gives about cleansing of the evil. When you're first watching this movie, I remember the first time I'm watching this movie, I'm like, holy shit, we got Jason from Jason number 2, or Friday the 13th part 2 coming out here dragging his body.
Yeah, Team Sack, baby.
But
Team Sack.
There's a callback to an earlier episode.
Again, don't go look that hashtag up.
Please do.
Do not.
How about hashtag Sackhead? There you go.
There you go. Better.
But I think the movie does a great job of just setting the tone. That it's so important in any movie, really, to set the tone for the rest of the film. They let you know from the beginning what kind of sick fucks this family is. And like I said, this is a sequel, but it's not. So when you see dragging a dead body through the forest, you got a dead body naked in the bed with Otis, you're like, oh, he's disgusting. And he says something later in the film, it's like, Jesus Christ. But anyway, the armor, how badass was that homemade armor, though? Jesus, they look like medieval rednecks. It was awesome,
dude. It was.
Yeah. Also, this movie does have some negatives. I will skittishly admit to. I don't know who shoots guns at a lower percentage, the cops in this movie or the stormtroopers in Star Wars, because Jesus Christ, man, like they can't shoot for shit. But and it really comes into play in the closing scene. I mean, my God. But anyway, I thought I like these scenes. They introduce you to the Firefly family. Not everybody makes it out, only the important ones. And then the one thing that I am curious to, I'd like to know, is because even though my DVD copy says director's cut on the front, I still feel like there's stuff cut out that I didn't see or that we didn't see, because they didn't do a good job at all of telling you who the fuck Tiny is.
Right.
Like you don't find that out until later, and it's like this big son of a bitch is dragging a body through the woods, and then he's gone, and they mention where's Tiny, but I wish they would have done a better job of somehow introducing all the characters that are going to come into play later.
I agree.
Off the rip, but small nitpick for a solid opening scene.
Go ahead, Brian.
So this movie was sent back to the MPAA 8 times, earning an NC-17 rating
Are
every
you sure?
time until
Rob
the last.
Zombie would never do that.
But look, I didn't even watch the unrated version, but I can see why the rating for sure. I mean, hell, with that first scene's full frontal nudity with that dead chick being dragged across the woods for what seemed like, by the way, 10 minutes. But I even wrote down, like, remember the times where RoboCop earned an NC-17 for just showing someone getting their arm blown off? That's how far we've come in this.
Yeah.
And the dialogue, just the shit fuck I wrote down. And look, I mean, look, you may think of me as a classy guy, and you wouldn't be wrong. I'm a classy guy, no doubt. But I do cuss a lot. I mean, when someone cusses around my son and then apologizes and he says it's okay, my dad says worse. I mean, come on, I cuss a lot. We have our vices. But when my wife comes in the room in the first 5 minutes of this movie and is like, "Wow, what are you watching?" and all I have to do is say Rob Zombie. She goes, "Oh, okay," and gets it. You know that this is like classic Rob Zombie dialogue here. One nitpick I had was, come on, police. I mean, you got to start with the tear gas. They waited way too late to throw that in there. If they would have started with the tear gas, it might have been a little bit better. And a little fact I have here is we talked about it a little bit off air, but the mother's played by Leslie Easterbrook here because apparently Karen Black, who played her in House of a Thousand Corpses, wanted a little bit too much money to come back. Overall, I liked the shaky cam action in the shootout. I did notice, which I kind of laughed at, the only one to get shot, ironically, is the one dude who was wearing full body armor, where, I didn't really understand why the rest of the family was just wearing face masks, like the rest of their body didn't matter if they got shot. But, yeah, like I said, though, great soundtrack, and I did like the way that scene was shot.
I do have one more thing before Mike gives his thoughts. It's just to play off, since you went ahead and mentioned that Rob Zombie in this film has an affinity for the word fuck, I want to throw something out there. This film actually says fuck in all of its variations 560 times.
Wow.
In the film, which was a record for film until later that year. There's a documentary called Fuck in 2005 that came out that's about the origin of the expletive and all that. So that's a documentary about the word specifically. So if you're talking about just a film, just a motion picture, this one holds the record 560 times for the word fuck, motherfuck, fucker, fucking, all that. Yeah.
A record broke every single time FSU fan watched Willie Taggart coach team in the last couple of years. Just
That's very true.
And I think I just set the don't go out there record for most fuck within the first segment as well. So
no
I
doubt.
don't know. There's an episode in which I think I counted myself. I said it 46 times, if I'm not mistaken. So I do apologize to our listeners. What I will say is, by the way, I'm glad you put me onto that documentary. I'm going to watch that after we get done here. So, okay. I feel like I'm going to repeat myself a lot here, but I can't help it. This is how I feel. I like these opening scenes because outside of the shit fuck stuff that we talked about, there isn't a ton of dialogue. So it's shot really well. It's shot really well to me. I like the cinematography. I like the shaky cam. I like William Forsythe, of course. He's better here than he is in fucking Halloween as Ronnie. Much better. Anything would be better than spunk all over them flappy titties. So that's good. See, that's the kind of dialogue we get around these parts. But again, I love the opening credits. Using Midnight Rider, great song, perfect for this movie, for this setting. So all credit there. There were a couple things I didn't like. You guys kind of already touched it. With again, incompetent police work in a goddamn horror movie. I'm sick of this shit. And then,
hey, Mike, Brad Dourif wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, that's the best horror movie cop ever, which happened to be a Rob Zombie movie. So there you go. See, all credit to Rob. All right, but I agree with your nitpick about Tiny. This really bugs me. This is like the only time we see him until we see him again, and you'll know what we mean when we get there if you've never seen it.
Oh, brother.
It's a huge fucking nitpick of mine. It really bugs me. It ended up making such a fucking look. I actually love the character of Mother Firefly. Like, I love that character in this movie. I think Leslie Easterbrook is actually better than Karen Black was in The House of a Thousand Corpses. That's just a preference. But yeah, man, these scenes are good. Like, these scenes, I don't mind. I like that they give you, like you said, a taste of the Firefly family. You could never watch House of a Thousand Corpses, turn this movie on, and you already got a taste of what's to come. So I do like that aspect of it as well. So no real big gripes with these scenes other than incompetent police work. And again, I'm not against full frontal nudity. We already talked about that Halloween 07 with Christine Klebe. I'm just saying, did we have to see a naked dead girl drug for about 8 minutes? That's ridiculous.
How else are you going to know how sick this family is? God.
I don't know. Maybe 10 seconds is enough. God damn. Anyway, yeah, that's okay. Go ahead.
All right. All right. Now we're at a news scene, and the sheriff says look through the house with a fine-tooth comb. It's the worst crime scene I've ever seen, the news reporter says. Now we cut to Captain Spaulding getting rode. He's having sex with this chick. He calls her a whore, and then she pulls a gun on him. Then all of a sudden he wakes up, and it was just a dream. And I wrote that his real wife is woof.
Hey, we all need loving.
I'm sure she's a nice lady.
Captain Spaulding and his wife, they start watching him on TV as commercial. Then we get a breaking news. The sheriff, we see the sheriff in the crime scene. Baby calls and tells Spaulding they got to leave now. They're meeting at a motel. Sheriff gives a warning to them, and then Spaulding, he drives off as he hates on his wife, and the news reveals the suspects. Now we get to the hotel, and Charlie complains to his whore that she didn't make enough money. Spaulding calls Charlie to tell him he's coming there to hide out. Otis and Baby get to the Kahiki Motel. We see another, group. They're checking into a room. I'm sorry, I should have wrote all their names down. And then I wrote, this group has a wonderful conversation right now, too. As you can tell, I'm not a huge fan of the dialogue Rob Zombie writes. Baby asks the guy for a light at the ice machine, and Baby's flirting with him. In the room now, we see another naked woman in the shower, and the others are watching TV. Otis sneaks behind the guy at the ice machine with a gun, and we get a really loud score as Baby and Otis invade the room. Otis pulls the woman out of the shower, and the other guy gets to the room. This is Brian Posehn, and Otis kills, his name is Jimmy. Otis kills him instantly by shooting him through the head. Spaulding hijacks a mom's car as his truck runs out of gas. And, he backhands the hell out of her, and he gets into the car, and he asks the kid, "Don't you like clowns, kid?" And Baby is being annoying as shit in the room, taunting the hostages. Otis forces the woman to strip, or he'll kill one of them. Otis fondles her. He puts the gun in her underwear. Otis has the two men leave with him. Brian, do you want to go first on those two scenes?
I'm sorry. I just never thought I'd hear you read, and Otis puts the gun in her underwear on the show.
Hey, you did.
That's the nice way to put it, dude.
It really
He left out the most disturbing part, so yeah.
Hey, I'm going to let y'all get into the most disturbing
we'll get
part.
to it.
Yeah, anyway, whenever I crack my ass up, like, I really liked Spaulding in this movie, honestly, because especially this line where, "Bad dream, 50-50. That
I
shit,
love
baby.
it.
That shit,
it's
baby,
great.
that cracked me up. By the way, Natasha Lyonne from American Pie was originally slated to play Candy, but was replaced by Elizabeth Daily, who also otherwise known as Pee Wee Herman's girlfriend. So honestly, that ruined my childhood right there,
It's
too.
really fucking weird.
The camera, a complaint I had here, the camera during the baby conversation with Roy is like super zoomed in. It was almost too far to me, which I don't have a problem with the shaky pan. Like I said, I liked it, but zoomed in like that was a little bit too much for me. And honestly, I wrote down Spaulding only hitting the mom, which PJ Souls from with Linda from the original Halloween, which, by the way, PJ, check with your agent because I've been trying to get you on the show, by the way. And I'm sure she listens to this all the time. Yeah. Anyway, hitting her and cussing at the kid to steal the car, I was like, that's it? Wow, I thought this was a Rob Zombie movie. I'm sure there's some alternate cut somewhere where he decapitates the mom and runs the kid over or something laying around somewhere in the 8 trips to the MPAA. But I was a little bit shocked that that's all she got was punched. And lastly, man, I don't really even have anything to say about that. That Otis and Wendy shit was really hard to watch, to be honest. Like, this is the shit in the zombie movies that just kind of ruins the whole thing for me. That's just where it's just over the top some part, like and in the rape part and stuff like that. So that, to me, that went a little bit too far for my taste.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, so right off the bat, I like these early scenes with Captain Spaulding. Like you said, the 50-50 line is great. By the way, but what I will say is I did not need an 8-minute sex scene with Sid Haig. I didn't need that. Damn it, man. Anyway, I did like that it was all a dream, and normally I don't like that, but I kind of like to hear, so it worked. I like the scene where he sees his commercial. He paid a lot of money for that shit, and he gets all mad. I like that, so that's good. again, Ken Foray, Joe Grizzly bitch, up in here. So big props in any movie he's in. He could have had a bigger role. That would have been fine with me. Okay, I'm supposed to like the Sullivans, right? Okay, I'm supposed to like Roy Sullivan. Well, I don't, because he just openly tried to cheat on his wife right there at the goddamn ice machine. So I don't like him already. I like Gloria, which, by the way, it's that scene, like you said, Brian. That's a little, even for me, who can handle a lot. It's seriously a little fucking sick. Like it just doesn't come off well. By the way, shout out to Priscilla Barnes, who played Gloria. She's in excellent shape. She had a freaking 4-pack and everything, man. She works her ass off. Anyway, but those scenes are kind of just sick to me, man. And you know, maybe Sherry Moon played it this way on purpose. I don't know, but she is so goddamn annoying here, man. Like it is just too far for me. So I think it's the dialogue that kind of again weighs these scenes down. Nothing about the direction is bad to me, except for the real zoomed in scene that you talked about, Brian. It's a little annoying, but it's a nitpick. But outside of that, it's not that I think any of this is shot bad. I like the background. I like the hotel we're in. You know, it's very dark and gritty and all that. I'm a fan of that. But some of this stuff is just too far, even for me, man. And I can just about handle any damn thing. The other night I watched Cannibal Holocaust, so that kind of lets you know my limit here.
Wow.
So, but even for me, this was, it made me uncomfortable. So, but everything else, I'll give a thumbs up to, especially Captain Spaulding, because again, the one likable character in this whole goddamn movie.
All right, so the point of a horror film is to get you to hate the villain, right?
Right. Do a good job.
Did you not hate Otis after that hotel scene or that motel scene?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get what you're saying. It was uncomfortable to watch, but I think that it may be I'm biased because I may have torn this apart had I not liked this movie, but I think that if you're wanting to build on true horror and real life terror situations, God, could you imagine like how intense that would be, like how terrifying that would be, how mortifying that whole scenario would be.
No doubt.
And as far as Baby goes, yeah, she's annoying as fuck, but her name is Baby. She's immature. She's a narcissist. She's a sociopath. I think that it was intentional because I think that she has the mindset of a toddler at times when she's childish and everything, but she's also a sociopath that will kill you and laugh in your face. And the scene where, like Nico said, he puts a gun down the underwear and stuff. I mean, Jesus, that was so uncomfortable. And then he forces her to perform actions on him, and we'll leave it at that. Yeah. But then when Baby just plops down on the bed and goes, "Boy, we're really getting to know each other, aren't we?" It's like, Jesus, okay. Like that's why I think it's intentional, like how she portrayed the character and how the character was written. Spaulding and Otis are the stars of this movie, though, for different reasons. Spaulding is almost likable. Like he's the villain that he's the least fucked up of them all. Like he lets the kid go. Right. Like I'm gonna come back here and you better have a good goddamn reason for why you hate clowns. And like he let the kid and the mom go. So you're like, okay, maybe he does have some compassion. He didn't kill this family. But Otis, you can see Otis is the worst kind of serial killer. Like he does not give a single fuck and he will kill everyone. And the scene where poor Roy, man, he just wanted to be a rodeo clown. And he gets brought into the room, seduced in the room by Baby. No, come on in. And then he's in the room for 5 seconds and he's got a bullet in his head. Jesus. And the way that, what was his name? Adam, the way he just projectile vomited is like, that was almost comedic to me.
It was.
But also, if you watch that scene, you've got 4 people reacting and they all 4 reacted in a different way. You've got him where he just pukes and he's all just like sick to his stomach by it. Roy is like, looks like he's on the verge of tears. The woman that they grabbed out of the shower, she's like numb to it. She doesn't even make a scene at all. And then Roy's wife is just hysterically crying. So I thought that was a brilliant way. That's like a subtle way to show that everybody handles traumatic experiences differently. And it was captured without, they didn't leave the camera on it. They didn't focus on it, but like shove it down your throat. Hey, Look at how we're shooting this. It was subtle It was quick and it was well done.
We got another news scene, and now we're with the sheriff. He's interrogating Mama. I just call her Mama Firefly. That's the only thing I think IMDb had her listed as. She tries to like flirt with him, it seems, and he shows her like all the books and diaries that he kept. Says reveal where they are, and the sheriff backhands her as she taunts him with pictures of a dead Waddell, a family member of his. Sheriff says he's going to skin them alive. And I wrote the mother, she's really annoying too in this. Otis and the other two guys are driving in the van. He insults the man saying his gun smells like his wife. And, his wife, you know. And he insults the other man about his wife too. The two men attack Otis. I think it was Adam hits Otis in the back of the head with like a big log or something.
Yep.
But Otis manages to stab Adam. And then he uses the gun in Roy's hand and shoots him in the neck. He bludgeons. I'm trying to remember. He bludgeons Roy with a pistol. He spits he spits blood, and then Adam spits blood in Otis's face. He has the other man pray, and then he mocks him. And I will say that I really like Bill Moseley Otis in this when he says, "I am the devil and here to do the devil's work." He then beats the man's head in, and with the log, he then gets on top of Adam and he cuts his face off. Back in the room with Baby and the two women. Baby says she wants something in return if you want to go pee. She hits her in the face, she says. The first two hits aren't good enough. She makes her kneel, kiss her, and says, thank you, baby, for having a good time. She goes in the bathroom. There's a horrible score as the bathroom lady tries to escape. The other lady grabs the gun but doesn't shoot. Baby throws the knife into her chest. And the other lady runs out of the room screaming for help, and she runs into Spaulding and gets headbutted and drugged back into the room. That's the next two scenes I got wrote down. Dustin, you want to go first, brother?
Yeah, sure, I'll go first. So yeah, the scene where the cop is interrogating Mama Firefly, like that's, oh my God, like that's the epitome of being pushed to your limit. Like he's really wanting to. I don't actually know that he ever straddled the line of trying to be a good cop or not. He just wants to kill them all.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's just like, all right, I'm just gonna beat the shit out of her right in front of all my compadres here. She really got under his skin, and rightfully so. I mean, taunting him with the dead relatives' pictures. Going back to Otis is driving Adam and Roy out to the middle of the desert. Like Otis is such a sick fuck. He's like, well, I guess I'll go ahead and tell you now. We're gonna go out here and dig up these guns I buried some years ago. And then what? Well, there is no then what. He's like, well, you're just gonna kill us? Like, I thought that Otis did a good, like, Bill Moseley killed this scene when he's on top of Adam and Adam's like, fuck you. Because, yeah, that's what they all say. But guess what? You know, it's not going to save you. And then he beats the shit out of Roy and tells him to pray. And then when he drops that line, like Nico said, that's actually a play off of Charles Watson. Charles Watson was a member of the Manson family. And that was a quote that he used to say when he would murder his victims. He would say, I'm the devil here to do the devil's business. So it's like a play on that. But still, it's very good symbolism there from Rob Zombie to incorporate that into the film. And then you go back to the room. The scene where she's like, they ain't got no bullets, stupid. It's all mind games. Like, that's just furthers how deranged these people are. Like, you're holding these people hostage with a gun that doesn't have any bullets in it. And that's just shows you when you're really scared shitless, you don't have time to think about that. You don't have time to even consider that be an option. And shout out to Baby for that knife throwing skill. I mean, that's pretty impressive, just to throw a knife like that underhanded and stab her right in the heart. That was impressive.
Not as good as Morgan Freeman, but anyway.
That's true. But then of all people, you know, she thinks, oh, thank God, I'm getting away, and here's someone. I've banged on 19,000 motel doors, and no one seems to be checked into this motel. But here's a nice gentleman in clown makeup in the parking lot. He's sure to save me. Like, of all people, you're gonna run towards the clown lady? But yeah, I enjoy these scenes. The scene with Otis in the desert with Adam and Roy, that's some of my favorite scenes because it just proves that Otis is such a badass. Like the way he's able to fight off, like he gets the shit knocked out of him with that club, and just fights back and kills them both. He's a badass. And fun fact: the blue van there, the blue van that was the band's van, the license plate is AKU. AKU or Aku. I'm not sure how they say it in Japan, but that's actually the Japanese word for evil. So it was interesting.
That is interesting. Just want to apologize for kind of butchering that a little bit, trying to remember the names. But I agree with you, Dustin. I think Otis was really good in that spot. I really enjoyed his acting, and you really felt the evil, the fear whenever he gave that line. I agree with you on that. Go ahead, Mike. That line stuck with me.
I agree with that 100%. And by the way, I never railed on Bill Moseley, the actor. He does this character really well. I think sometimes the lines he's given sucks. This one is not one of those, though. I agree with both of you. I really like that line. And I guess this is the job of what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to make me hate this family. And if that's their goal, that's great, because I do. Look, Freddy Krueger is a child molesting, child murdering, burnt freakazoid person, and I like him more than I do Otis. So that's how much I will give them credit for making me not like this character at all in a good way. So again, I like William Forsythe, and I like the woman who plays Mama Firefly here, but I don't like their talking back and forth. It's weird. It's annoying. Like I like the portrayals, the acting portrayals, but the dialogue, I hate to harp on it, but it just, I don't like the lines. They don't work for me. There's like a weird pseudo sexual tension thing that I just don't care about. So that interrogation scene didn't do a whole lot for me. It's well acted. I just don't like the talking there. The scene with Baby, first of all, why do you want something in return for having someone go pee? How about the room not smelling like piss? It's a great fucking place to start. Okay? I'm just saying, that's fucking weird, bro. Like,
No!
Yeah.
She said it doesn't matter to her if she pisses her pants.
The room's gonna... Okay. Well, that's my point. These people are fucking weird. Anyway. But, so some of that I'm okay with. Like, I actually think that when Sherry Moon kind of has to carry these scenes as far as being the lead, it's okay. It's not great, but it's probably maybe her best acting in this movie. So a little tip of the cap. The scene with God, I feel so bad for Gloria in this whole movie. This scene is also super fucking uncomfortable. She's in her underwear. She's standing there, and in horror movie fashion, she doesn't shoot at first, even though it wouldn't have helped, obviously. But common sense says shoot this motherfucker. But you've been in this bad situation, so you're kind of nervous and all that stuff. So, I mean, logic kind of goes out the window. I don't hate these scenes, but man, I love Otis. I love that scene. He kills both of them. By the way, they had a really stupid plan to take out Otis. It's fucking ridiculous. And you've got one old guy and a guy that weighs like $110 soaking wet. So good luck with that. That did not work. So I like those scenes. I don't necessarily love the interrogation scene, only because I don't care about these two or Mama Firefly trying to get the dick from Sheriff Wydell. It just didn't work for me. So, but outside of that, I do enjoy these scenes.
I don't know. I didn't take it as she was trying to get the dick, just trying to just fuck with him just because she's kind of psycho and just messed up. That's kind of the way I took that. But I get what you're saying there for sure. By the way, I'm just checking. Being kin to the victim from House of Thousand Corpses and backhanding somebody in police custody would usually get you removed from a case, right? If you're a cop, just checking. I was just making sure that was we're still in reality.
1978, brother. It's the Wild West.
Oh.
It is 78.
And honestly, like Mike kind of touched on a little bit. I'm sure it was her direction, because I remember Leslie Easterbrook from Police Academy movies, so I know that she has some acting chops. But that scene in the police station with Waddell was cringeworthy to me, and I was like, I can't even hardly explain it. It was like over the top. It wasn't even maybe the dialogue. It was like basically the way she delivered it. So I don't, like I said though, I don't know. That might have been how they were trying to have her act. So I don't know. Otis had great. It was. I mimic everything you guys said with him. But man, the dumbasses Roy and Adam, honestly, to me, they deserve to die. And fucking Roy is worthless. I mean, how weak do you have to be? I mean, he beats him down with a piece of wood while Roy stands there with his thumb up his ass and the gun's laying there right in front of him. just terrible. It drove me crazy. And they still can't kill him and escape. And the last thing I had written down, honestly, for this group of scenes is exactly what Mike said about Sherry Moon Zombie's acting, where she basically has to carry that little scene in the back in the bedroom. But and I even wrote down, I was like, well, it actually wasn't bad. You actually see some flashes and of really good Sherry Moon Zombie acting. Mm-hmm. So and this was one of them.
I'll say this before we move on to the next scene. You two, or Mike specifically, have clearly never held people hostage. You want to keep everybody.
I've never held people hostage.
You want to keep everybody in the same room. That's another reason why she wanted something in return for letting her use the bathrooms, because she lets one of them out of their sight. It increases the chances of them getting away or concocting a plan. Keep them both in your line of sight. Come on.
I get it, but I don't want to smell piss on the floor. Anyway, go ahead.
Hey, you saw the house they lived in.
Yeah, you saw the house.
I don't think they care about piss.
That's a good point. There's probably shit everywhere on that house. Anyway, go ahead.
The deputy and the sheriff, they're investigating Captain Spaulding. The sheriff says to get the movie expert there ASAP. Baby and Spaulding, they drag the other woman into the room. The movie expert brings all the major Marx Brothers movies. Sheriff is getting pissed, and I wrote, my God, the sheriff, he loves him some Elvis Presley, apparently. The woman is now bound and gagged to the hotel bed. Otis shows up with a new face on. Otis and Spaulding begin to argue. Otis tortures the woman bound to the bed by putting her husband's face on her face. And then they leave. The maid shows up and she sees the dead bodies in the room. And she goes in the bathroom and she sees the dead bodies in the bathtub. And the words, the devil's rejects, are written in blood on the wall. The woman, the wife, she was hung up on the door, but she attacks the maid with her husband's face on her still. And the maid runs out. And then the lady runs out into the middle of the road and she's hit by a semi-truck. Sheriff and the police show up to the motel. The sheriff asks the maid if she recognizes the three pictures, their mugshots. Sheriff gives Rondo and Diamond Dallas Page some names they need to investigate. The three Fireflies leave in the van. Shout out my man DDP. Some real nostalgia right there. Some more good dialogue between the three of them in the van. I wrote the words, Tutti Frutti. Sheriff goes back to the Firefly house. He goes to the basement. He hears a man talking. He thinks it's Spaulding, but it's another officer. He says, I live here now, he says. And it's George, his brother, or his family member who was killed. Sheriff wakes up. It was all just a dream sequence. He gets a call from Rondo. Rondo says he thinks they found what they need. And then he tells DDP, shit's on. Sheriff is with Mama Firefly again. Mama is horny, it seems. He kisses her lips as he pulls the knife out of her, killing her. The Fireflies get to Charlie's fun town. Charlie pulls a gun on them as they walk up. It's just a water gun. Otis and Baby, they're all freaking out like, you brought us here to this shit? But then Captain Spaulding and Charlie, they hug and they laugh. They all go into the bar and all start partying. And it intercuts with the sheriff talking to himself in the mirror. I'm just going to get this out there. I do like Sheriff Wydell. I think he's pretty cool in this movie. Except at the ending when he fumbles the bag. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, so movie expert, obviously Zombie giving a big fuck you to the critics there with that guy, yes, which sir. I don't blame him. I mean, I'm not a big fan of his movies either, but movie critics, movie reviewers, movie podcasters, they're the worst, am I right? Plus that dude looks like the fucking bad guy from Sonic the Hedgehog, just FYI. And man, that's so fucking stupid. The maid being chased by Wendy, but she never bothers at all to remove the face of your dead husband from your face, and then you get hit by a truck. Okay. By the way, thank you, Rob Zombie, for showing literally every single little detail of that death. That was pretty impressive, actually. And also the line about explosive diarrhea. That was Oscar-worthy line right there, too. But here we go. Like, we get Diamond motherfucking Dallas Page and Danny Trejo. Hey, these are the high points, and I'm here for it. Apparently, fun fact, Chris Jericho also auditioned for that role, and Zombie turned him down, saying he was, quote-unquote, too pretty. But honestly, give me Trejo any day of the week. Love that guy. But I would love to see a spinoff with just DDP and Trejo hunting people down.
Yeah, I have that wrote down, too.
Give me that shit yesterday. I want that yesterday. Hell
dude,
yeah.
I would even take a buddy cop version of that. That'd be fucking great.
And my man kills a prisoner in the middle of the police station, but if anybody has any issues with that, we definitely don't see that anywhere in the movie. And this is going to show my nerd a little bit, and I don't really care for him a whole lot, but if you've if you've seen the Star Wars movies, when they get to Charlie's and the whole bit between Charlie and Spaulding is basically the Rob Zombie white trash version of Han Solo meeting Lando at Cloud City. It's almost the exact same thing. And the line, I set my standards pretty low, so I'm never disappointed. And that reminded me of somebody that, we know personally.
Hey, what happened here?
Hey, what's going on? All right.
Hey, what the hell happened in here?
Go ahead, Mike. I think he was talking about you, brother.
Oh, no, I didn't say anything about Mike.
I don't know what y'all are talking about.
It's not Mike. Okay.
No, of course not.
Okay. So it's almost like we think alike a lot of the time, even though lately we haven't agreed. But when it comes to these sets of scenes, we kind of have the same shit written down outside the Star Wars stuff because I don't know what that means. But the movie expert stuff, it was literally in this movie to give a middle finger to movie critics, right, which I'm fine with. Yeah,
absolutely.
It doesn't bother me. I would have cut it maybe a little short, but it's not like this big glaring issue with the movie. There's more here to come. Not in this set of scenes. I actually like this set of scenes. Not the dialogue. I'm not going to keep railing on it. But I like some of the scenes, the scenarios that these characters are put in. I like Otis coming in with the guy's face on his face. That, again, very Texas Chainsaw Massacre-y of him, and that's very good influence. I like that little subtle touch. The maid, God bless her heart, Jesus Christ, man. Oh, my God. Okay. Shower girl hit by the truck. You survived the Firefly family. And you run out into the middle of the street and get hit by a fucking truck? God damn.
She deserved it.
At that point, yeah. See ya. Yeah, you're out of here, pal. By the way, I agree with you. I know I already said it, but Trejo and DDP can give me a whole spinoff series on Netflix that I would watch and devour. It would be awesome to see those two go and have, not necessarily like a played for laughs buddy cop thing, but, with some dark comedy in there. That'd be fucking awesome. The Tutti Frutti scene can kiss my ass. That scene fucking sucks. It's annoying as hell. And the only thing I wish they would have done if they were going to go this route is put an ice cream cone in Otis's hand too. Like, that shit would have been fucking funny. There's some really dark comedy there. Like,
agreed.
I
agree with that.
That would have made me laugh really fucking hard had they put an ice cream cone in Otis's hand. So and again, some more Ken Foray. Wish he was in it a little bit more, but I love that scene. I think it builds tension, it builds suspense, and surprise, it's a water gun. Like, that's good dark comedy placed in a horror movie. So kind of lightens up the mood a little bit because we're about to go into some shit. Some shit's about to hit the fan. So outside of Tutti Frutti, I really like that collection of scenes. Like, I think it's probably my favorite chunk of the movie so far.
Yeah, I'm still laughing on the inside about the movie critic being called Robotnik from Sonic the Hedgehog, but I agree. I mean, making him that over the top and like that whole scene was just a big middle finger, but it was funny. Like, that guy was hilarious. If you weren't a cop, I'd wring your neck. Hey, you watch your tone. Like, get the fuck out of here. I hated that part. This scene is actually the biggest problem I have with dialogue in the whole film is this collection of scenes, because between that and Waddell saying, "Hey, you watch your mouth when it comes to Elvis Aaron Presley," and it's just like, God, come on, man. Otis coming in, wearing the husband's face, like, God, what a sick fuck, and then putting it on her face. Like, how traumatized would that housekeeper be? Like, could you imagine walking into that shit show? You've got 4 guests in the entire motel, and they're all slaughtered. And then one of them you actually watch happen when she runs out in the middle of the road. That, I have a big pet peeve with that death. Spoiler alert, that's going to be my least favorite kill because, oh, come on, like, of all this shit. But it's so well done though. Like, the gore and the violence and the just nasty, showing the entire intestines stretched out on the highway. Like, that's very good effects, but the practicality of it, like, she just, like you said, she didn't pull the face off to try to see where she's going. She just runs out in the middle of the road, which I get it, trying to get someone to stop, but you're not going to turn around and see a big ass truck. And then as a truck driver, you see this woman standing out in the middle of the road. You're you clearly have a head of steam. You have plenty. It's not like you just pulled out. You don't have time to stop or swerve or something. You just plow through. You didn't even honk the horn, inconsiderate asshole. And then going on DDP shout out. I was really hoping they would hit someone with a diamond cutter in this film.
Yes.
Dude, I wrote the same thing. Yeah, I wrote the same thing.
The Tutti Frutti scene. So not to beat a dead horse and harp on it too much, but
No, go ahead.
my problem with the Tutti Frutti scene is not necessarily Baby,
No.
because she's doing exactly like I said earlier. They're depicting her as this mentally incapable adult. Like, she has the mindset of a child, and for her to that's exactly how a kid would be if you're going down the road and they want some ice cream, Tutti Frutti, obviously not dropping the F-bomb as much as if they do, that's your business. You're a parent, not me. But the fact that Otis is the dialogue I have the problem with, when he's like, yes, I've calculated in exactly 2 minutes is a detriment to my fucking health. Otis's dialogue this is the one scene in the film where I have a problem with the way that it's written for him. You can depict that you're annoyed and you're not stopping for ice cream people don't talk like that. I've never heard someone talk in the manner that he talks in these scenes. So there's my issue with that scene. Sheriff killing Mama Firefly. I mean, yeah, that lets you know that Waddell, he's not with the shits. He came into this with a goal in mind, and he's going to see it through. It lets you know that he is not joking at all. Then, when the Fireflies show up to Charlie's, I thought this was well done. I know what Brian said, the white trash, as he so eloquently put it, the white trash take on the Star Wars scene. But if flashback to earlier in the scene, Charlie didn't want them coming down, and Spaulding got off the phone without saying bye. He just we're on our fucking way, and drops the phone. And so when they do show up and he pulls the gun, it almost leads you to believe, if oh shit, is this real? And so I thought that was a nice moment of relief, a nice little whew moment. I thought this movie was over right there without Waddell even getting his vengeance. But the water gun, that got a kick out of me. That's something that I would do to my friends. Just pull a gun, just squirt them with water. That's funny to me.
Shit, that's dangerous as fuck though. Knowing how crazy Otis is, I'm surprised he didn't just start shooting.
Right. Otis is, and I've said it. If I've said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. Otis is a sick fuck, and he is a horn dog. Jesus, man, you just got off the road, and your first thought is, "I'm looking at you, mama." Whew, all right. But yeah, he did deliver an all-time line. He's like, "I always set my standards low, so I'm never disappointed." I can relate, brother. But anyway.
Yeah, they were talking
ahead.
about you. It couldn't possibly be anybody else.
What?
Oh, sorry.
All right, now Charlie. I'm sorry, Dustin. Charlie, he's trying to buy some chickens, and the guy asks if they're going to fuck the chickens.
Wow.
And I wrote, "Oh, brother," to this dialogue.
Oh, that scene sucked ass. Go ahead,
Now
Nico.
Charlie and his assistant drive off, and the sheriff stops in front of Charlie's car. He asks him about Captain Spaulding. He smashes Charlie's hand in the car and says to have the three of them ready at midnight, or he'll kill them. DDP, Rondo, and Sheriff are grilling some burgers, and he tells them to stay focused on business because they offer him beer and all that. And Rondo, he breaks up DDP and the sheriff's argument because they're about to throw hands, it looks like. And then the sheriff says, "I want them alive just enough so I can piss on them." Back to Charlie's. Charlie and Spaulding, they're shooting the shit, snorting some coke, and then Charlie, he walks out. The three Fireflies are all just hanging out at Charlie's. Rondo and DDP, they invade. They kill the two whores, and then they capture Otis and Baby. The sheriff walks in, he takes a shot of liquor, and he confronts Spaulding. He shoots him. "Business is business, baby," Charlie tells him. They put the Fireflies in the truck. They take them to the Firefly house. He binds them all to chairs, and the sheriff starts preaching at them. He shows them all the pictures and the diaries and all that, and he starts stapling the pictures of the victims to Otis. And then he staples a picture to Baby, and then he breaks a bottle over Otis's head. And the next two scenes are the ending. Mike, do you want to go first, brother?
Yeah, sure. So I already screamed it out. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but God almighty, the dialogue is de-drizzling shits in that chicken scene. That fucking sucks, man. I don't know why that was left in. you can cut that out. That don't make any damn sense. Again, I will give Ken Follett credit though, because I like him as an actor. So he's fine. It just he's not given very great dialogue. So God Almighty, just completely cut that scene out and pretend it doesn't exist, and it's an immediately better movie by proxy. So, the scene where Sheriff meets with the DDP, with the DDP. Well, he is kind of the
He
DDP,
is the
isn't
DDP, yeah.
and Danny Trejo. I don't have a lot of notes there, just because it's just kind of a lot of dialogue and stuff. But it's fine. Like, it doesn't take away or add anything. It's just kind of there. But I like when they capture the Fireflies, and like you said, just business, baby. Like, I like all that. I think it's good. I just like I like how Charlie just goes back to his I'm gonna go back to what I was doing now. Like, I like that a lot, and I like how sick. By the way, we've seen this entire film how sick the Firefly family is, but Sheriff Whitell's a sick fucker too, man.
Yeah.
And we get to see it right here, and I like that. Like, I didn't necessarily see that coming. Now, it doesn't quite pan out in the closing scenes the way I would have wanted it, but I like that they gave him that edge. To me, he's just as sick as these fuckers. So they've met a nice counterpart. So I like William Forsythe in these scenes. This is where gore is good, where he's stapling the pictures to him and stuff. The gore is really good. It plays really well. So really enjoy those scenes, that part of these scenes the best. But it's weird, in this set of scenes, you go from the worst scene in the movie to one of my favorites. So, that's kind of where this movie is, in my opinion. Just a bumpy ass ride.
Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I want to applaud William Forsythe's acting here, honestly, for sure. I think he does a great job, honestly. His character doesn't make the best choices, in the movie, but William Forsythe as an actor, I think, does a great job, honestly, portraying him in this whole flick. And I'm honestly looking for the right words to say about the whole exchange with the fucking chickens, but I mean, honestly, I'm at a loss for words about it. I mean, really, I'll just move on. But by the way, no way any human being puts their hand on that open door like Charlie does just to have it slammed on his hand. Nobody does that. But that, if you know what I'm talking about, whenever the sheriff slams the door on his hand, I guess to convince him to betray them. But this is where I wrote during the raid. I wrote, honestly, I'm disappointed that we get 0 diamond cutters from DDP. Exactly the same thing, Dustin. I wrote that right there because that would have been perfect. And the last thing I have, and it's a good thing, is the moment between Spaulding and Charlie, honestly, to me, is really good. I think I really believe they're friends right there. It's good acting. It's good writing right there. And honestly, I like the montage of the raid up against that soundtrack. It's probably my favorite scene in the whole movie as well. There's just a whole lot that really works right there, and I really enjoyed that part.
So the scene with the chickens, I get it. You had to have an excuse to have Charlie and Cleavon out and away so you can corner them and let them know what the jig is. But the dialogue, first of all, you could have them. You could just show them pulling off from the chicken stand with chickens. You don't even have to show them interacting with that redneck at all.
Right.
That being said, it was funny. You gonna fuck these chickens? It was funny, but it didn't belong. It was trash. It was funny for the wrong reasons. But I will give a shout out to Michael Berryman. I'm glad that he got some dialogue in this film, and he's been in movies as far as back as the old original Hills Have Eyes, and he got to show a lighter side in this film. Like going back to earlier, it's like droid when he's talking about Star Wars. They're called droids, boss. And so I liked his character in this. He's like the simple helper that doesn't know any better, and he seems so innocent in the film. It's funny. That being said, we're gonna have to put some respect on Rondo and Billy Ray Snapper's names. They are the unholy two. That is not DDP and it's not Danny Trejo. But anyway, they should have hit.
God.
It's like Morgan Freeman. You're gonna be Morgan Freeman no matter what you're playing.
No.
Danny Trejo is the same way, by the way.
Danny Trejo is not Danny Trejo to me. He's Octavio from King of the Hill. But
Hank.
But these scenes are great. I really like you said, Waddell. He acted his ass off in that. And as if they hadn't done it enough already, just furthering and really driving that nail home that Otis is a sick fuck. He's showing him the pictures. He's like, yeah, she doesn't look so fuckable now, does she? He's like, well, actually, she kind of does. I was like, oh, God. And then he talked about how he had her tied to his bed for weeks after that. It's like, Jesus, man, okay. This guy does need to die. Like, there needs to be no more of him in the world. And then after seeing him go through the torment of having the picture stapled to his chest, pulls out another one, and baby instantly goes from, oh, please stop, you're hurting him, to, yeah, that one's mine. I killed her. Yeah, give me that one. Like, that just shows the deranged nature of this family even more. So I thought that was a really good job by Zombie to further drive that point home. And yeah, overall, like you said, it goes from just the absolute worst part, the low point in the entire film with the chicken fucking dialogue, to an incredible set of scenes.
Yeah, I really like Sheriff Waddell in that scene. He, like I said, he fumbles the bag though in this next one. All right, here's the finale, guys. I wrote the sheriff is drinking way too much right now. He shows him a picture of his family member George, and Spaulding is shocked and beaten with a cow prod, and then he beats Otis with it. He shows Baby a pic of her mom and describes how he killed her. He nails Otis's hands to the chairs like crucifixion style. He sets Baby free and she runs. He lights the house on fire with Otis and Spaulding still bound to their chairs. He now chases after Baby through the cow pasture. Charlie is there and tells Baby, we got to get you safe. Otis wakes up in the house. Charlie gets axed by the sheriff right in the chest. And then Baby takes off running again, but the sheriff shoots her in the calf. Now he's beating her with a belt, and he's on top of her, choking her, and all of a sudden Tiny appears out of nowhere, pulling the sheriff off of her. And like he breaks his neck, I guess, killing him. She sends Tiny in the house after Otis and Spaulding. They all walk out together, and Tiny stays at the burning house as the other three drive off. And now Freebird is playing. Great song at the end.
Yep.
The three are driving off, and it shows flashes of them hanging out in the past. Otis stops the car in the middle of the road as we see a huge roadblock. Otis hands them guns. He hands, Spaulding and Baby guns in the back seat. Otis drives at them, and they open fire on each other. And then the music cuts, and we see the Fireflies getting shot as the end credits roll. I kind of like the ending, except Tiny appearing out of nowhere, an hour and 35 minutes later, I guess. But I like the ending with Freebird and them driving at the car. I did like that part. Dustin, this is your pick, brother. Do you want to go first on your thoughts, man?
Sure, I'll go first. So yeah, like you said, the fact where Tiny just reappears out of nowhere. I mean, they did allude to the fact that they mentioned Tiny is still left behind at the house and he never joined them, but no communication with anyone, no reference to him for over an hour and a half, and then all of a sudden he shows up and just absolutely manhandles Sheriff Waddell. And there is a fun fact here about that scene. So when he's chasing Baby through the farm, he's going to run, little rabbit, run. That's a direct quote from House of a Thousand Corpses. Baby is chasing the girl in the bunny outfit. She says the exact same thing to her. And so that was a nice little callback to House of a Thousand Corpses. Now, granted, Waddell would have no way of knowing that that's what she said to her, but still, it was a cool little nod for the audience there. Yeah, the ending I thought was really well done. Freebird, what a better there couldn't have been a better choice of song for the ending of this, because the Freebird is such a beautiful song about free spirit and I'm traveling on, and then it goes to the guitar solo, and it's such a chaotic guitar solo, and I mean that in the best way possible. It's one of the best songs that's ever been made, but it's so 180 from the first portion of that song that it really sets up nicely with this. Like, they're going in and they're having this moment in the car. They're just, okay, this is our last ride. And then as the gunfire starts, boom, here's the guitar solo. And they don't actually show that they died. So it could set up something later down the road, which we'd find out. Anyway, 3 from hell, man. And then
I'll watch it eventually, one of these days.
and then one last note, Matthew McGrory, Tiny, passed away like 2 weeks after this film was completed. And so
Rest in peace.
This was his last film, and 7'6". So when I say he manhandled Sheriff Wydell, what a huge beast of a man, and he probably could have really done that in real life.
Yeah.
But I really like the way this movie they tie a bow on everything and set it up to where you're satisfied with the ending. I thought everything was well done in these scenes here.
He was great in Big Fish in 2003 too, by the way. Like he was great. He was great.
Brian, go ahead, brother.
Okay. So the Wydell torturing him scene, you know, I know Dewey is Dustin's territory, so my mention does not count here as Dustin's mention. But I feel like that this is the Deputy Dewey we're going to get in Scream 5. Just taking his revenge, stapling people. He's going to go crazy in Scream 5.
That'd be fine with me.
And my guy Lando, Charlie, gets mistaken for Scatman Carruthers there and gets the axe to the neck like just out of nowhere.
Yeah, I know. What's up with them whacking dick 2 movies in a row? But anyway.
You did that on purpose.
Shit. But and okay, so they're all saved by Sackhead, Jason, Tiny, and the car.
Yeah.
But the car seats 4 people, and they just leave him there. I mean, maybe there's some sort of something I'm missing from not seeing the other 2 in the trilogy or something. But like he just walks back into the house that's on fire. I mean, did he commit suicide? Is that what's implied there? I wasn't sure. Honestly, I'm genuinely not real sure what happened there. And but the Bonnie and Clyde ending, you know, basically, you know, Freebird, Dustin touched on it. It's good no matter what scene it's in. So high marks for the soundtrack again. I mean, damn. But and that's what I had the question here for my last question, like, because I genuinely don't know. But I was wondering how the hell they weren't all dead for the next one. And I was wondering if it was like a prequel or something, because I genuinely don't know and I hadn't seen it. But based on what you just said, I guess they supposedly didn't die from that. That's kind of
they go to prison.
That's a stretch, kind of, I think. But anyway, that's kind of my thoughts on it.
All right, so I love the way these last few scenes are shot. That is a big plus in my opinion. The way that Rob Zombie decides to use the camera here for the the torture scenes with Sheriff Wydell and then the car scene as well. I love the way both are shot. So big props to the man behind the camera on that one. Okay, so I don't like the decision of it being Tiny, although I do think he is a tip of the cap to Sackhead Jason. So I stand Tiny. I stand here corrected. I think Sackhead Jason was the perfect villain to come save the day, because that's the man. That's the best Jason there's ever been. All right, anyway, so what else? I just like to trigger these guys. So, I don't know why Charlie had to die. Damn it, man. Damn it. Do we have to do that? We don't have to fucking kill Ken Foray. Joe Grizzly, bitch. Anyway. Yeah, so I like all that. I hate how stupid Sheriff Wydell ends up being. Just kill him. Just kill him. Ah, idiot. Stupid cops, horror movies. Fucking hate it. But you said it all, Dustin. The drive-off scene is fucking great to me. The Freebird, the way it's used, the way they tie the song with the shot. It's almost like perfectly laid out, and I really, really enjoy that. I think it's really good. And this beat-up-ass old car, it's got blood everywhere. Like, it's just a gross-ass looking car with this gross-ass looking family, and somehow, some way, they escape this shitty thing they just went through. I don't know if I'm supposed to be pulling for these guys, but I didn't. But I know there's a lot of people, a lot of fans of this movie that, like, follow the villains and pull for them in this movie, so that was probably a really cool scene for them, but I just meant the actual filmmaking aspect of that I really, really enjoyed. And I like that they just kind of look at each other, get the guns, say, fuck it, let's go, and drive off right into their, like, I think I love the way that's shot and done. So I like the way they tie it in a bow. I haven't seen 3 from Hell, so I don't really know where they go from there. But if this was the last one, it was a good way to end it off, in my opinion. Like, that I really enjoyed the ending a lot, actually. And Freebird helps. Like, this is where using music in a movie really fucking works. Like, I thought it was great.
And I want to call back to something I said earlier, so about the accuracy of the cop shooting. I mean, That scene right there is what I was talking about. Here you've got 15 cops spread out across the road. You got 3 people in the car, and you must have let off 400 rounds. I mean, Jesus, the stormtroopers would have shot them by then. So, but anyway.
And maybe David Gordon Green was inspired to set House on fire right here because of this movie. Sorry.
All right, boys, anybody got any final thoughts on this film before we jump into fun facts?
No, I'm good, man.
Let's get it.
I only have 3 of them. We've already kind of said them. Otis' line, "I am the devil and I am here to do the devil's work," is a slightly altered version of a quote spoken by Manson family member Charles Watson during the infamous Tate murders. Rob Zombie stated in an interview that up until 31, a film in 2016, The Devil's Rejects was probably the hardest film of his to cut down in order to receive an R rating. And the last one is what Brian already said. Chris Jericho auditioned for the role of Rondo, but was told he was too pretty for the part, so Danny Trejo was cast instead. That's the only 3 I have. Does anybody else have fun facts?
No,
I've got some. But first of all, does that not hurt your feelings if you're Danny Trejo, knowing that you got it because you're uglier than Chris Jericho? But anyway.
Hey, Danny Trejo's going to get a role in this movie some way or another. Zombie always casts the same people, which I respect it. I respect it.
Hey, Dustin, real quick. Oh, yeah, he's definitely the Adam Sandler of the horror community. There's no doubt about that. No. But which is fine. There's nothing wrong with, giving it off to your own. Nothing wrong with that. Real quick, I only have one, and I want to spin it into something. So this film originally had another subplot, which, God, how much longer could it get? But this movie had a original subplot involving the Dr. Satan character from House of a Thousand Corpses. Zombie decided to cut those scenes because it really wouldn't have fit in this movie. Like this movie has like a very Bonnie and Clyde thing, and he compared it to seeing Chewbacca in a Bonnie and Clyde movie. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't work. So we cut all those scenes. So I think that's a good direction because House of a Thousand Corpses, it works in that movie the way that movie shot and the way that those characters, like, it's kind of like a really just dark and real gritty horror movie. This movie's almost like a couple weeks in a row now, it's almost like a road movie. Like, it's a really good road horror movie. So it's a completely different vibe. So that would not have worked. I'm glad he did that. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm glad those scenes got cut out anyway. Dr. Satan was a sick fuck anyway.
Yes,
so the fun facts I've got, the ranch that was used for the Firefly Ranch was actually it was used in the pilot episode of the show Supernatural, the same house. There's 19 or 20 deaths in the film, depending on which outlet you got. I got 19 from IMDb. I watched a YouTube, I think it was the Carnage Count. It wasn't Carnage Count. I don't remember what it was. There was a YouTube video I watched on it earlier, and it had 20. And after watching it, it kind of made me second guess because what are you counting as a death? But anyway, Rob Zombie is a noted horror fan, and he has several callbacks to and tip of the cap to other horror movies in this one. So you got the naked woman in the shower, callback to like Psycho, cutting off the face of Adam, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Sackhead, taking an axe to the chest, like Brian said, The Shining. And so all those are horror callbacks in this movie. You've got 30 Days in Hell was actually the name of the documentary of the making of this film. And they call it that because this film was filmed in 30 days in California in the scorching heat. Oh. And so they were all miserable filming this thing. So tip of the cap to everyone involved, because no matter what you think of the movie, that's still impressive and grueling to do that in the California heat for 30 days in the summer. Here's your weekly David Arquette. So this was an easy one. Diamond Dallas Page is in this film. Diamond Dallas Page is in Ready to Rumble with David Arquette. Boom, there you go.
Should have said bang. There you go.
Bang. Yeah. Last one I got. So we all love Ken Foray, right? Would you have loved this movie any less had they went with someone else that they considered? James Avery, a.k.a. Uncle Phil.
I would have no.
He was considered for the role. I agree with what you're saying, though. But in the film, him and Spaulding call each other brother several times. And that's one of those things, like, we call each other brother, but that's because we're friends. It's brotherhood. But they kind of allude to the fact that they might actually be related. And when you think about the way Spaulding looks and the way James Avery looks, they actually could be believable as brothers. Obviously, one is African American, one's white, but you know, mixed parents and that sort of thing, they could pass as physical brothers. So that would have been an interesting choice. But I do think Ken Foray was the way to go. They did perfectly fine on that.
Yeah.
James Avery has nicer teeth than Sid does.
That's true.
All right, moment of truth. Dustin, your pick. You want to go first or last?
I'm gonna go last.
All right, I went first last week.
I'll go first.
Okay.
All right. So
I'm excited for I'm excited for yours, Settle. I think I know where me and Brian are on this one.
I don't know if I have a favorite kill, because it was really difficult to like find a kill that I actually enjoy. Like, you know, and like a typical slasher was like, wow, that was a cool kill. None of these are like cool kills. Like, so I guess if I had to pick one, it would probably be probably Roy. Yeah, sure. How about both those guys? When Otis kills both those guys, that's my favorite set of kills. Like, I think that really works.
That's fair. That's fair.
Roy
I'll do a two-way tie there. And so my least favorite kill is goddamn girl getting hit by the van. That kill sucks ass. So, and again, I get it, but it made me so mad. Like, just kill her with the rest of the family. It's so stupid. Okay, so again, I said this at the beginning of this movie. Now, I said it at the beginning of this movie. This movie to me is shot really well. I don't have any complaints with the cinematography. I don't have any complaints with the direction, except maybe a scene here and there. Nothing major, though. Nothing that really takes me out of the movie. So, again, Rob Zombie has a really damn good horror movie in him, and I know Dustin thinks this is one of them. He's writing down a hit list. That's fine. Fine. But I think that Rob Zombie has a better movie in him than this one. I will just say that off the top of my head, because I don't think he's bad behind the camera. I think he's pretty smart behind the camera, actually. So again, doesn't bother me, and I like the aesthetic from a Rob Zombie movie. You know, that dingy, grungy, dirty, just blah feeling. It works in a horror movie. It works for Texas Chainsaw Massacre 03. So I get the stylistic, point here where that's every Rob Zombie movie for the most part. Outside of Salem, it's kind of shot different. But I think that there's a great movie in him. This movie is not it, however. This movie is drugged down by a lot of bad dialogue. Like, there is just some shit that takes me out of this movie where I'm like, what? Nobody talks like that in my... Okay, fine. I'll just say it. Nobody in my world talks like that. Okay? I'm just going to be honest. Now, I know some people I went to high school with that kind of probably talk like that, but I'm not around them enough to know. So, again, I can't relate to the dialogue that much. However, I don't hate this movie as much as I think two of our co-hosts do here. I think for what this movie goes for, it does really well. It makes the bad guys and the good guys kind of bad guys, so that's kind of a negative. But again, makes me hate the Firefly family, so I'll just go ahead, wrap it up in a bow here. I'm going to give this movie a 6.5. I think if this movie had better dialogue, I would bump it up, because I like the fact that it's shot really well. I like some of the gore. There's just some really bad, gross feeling dialogue. And the scene, I'm not going to lie, the scene with the gun down the pants really knocks it down a whole point for me. Like, that's how much I fucking hate that scene. So, 6.5. Not bad. Rewatchable. The original cut. The director's cut's too goddamn long.
All right, Brian. I'll go ahead and go next so Dustin can hate me and not you. All right, how about that?
Go ahead.
And Dustin, I'm sorry, brother.
Hey, it's okay.
Okay.
Just wait till your next pick.
That's fine. Hey, you just shit on Paul Walker last week ago.
I'm going to rate it 0.001 higher than you do, just so I'm not the lowest. No, I'm just kidding.
I didn't shit on Paul Walker. I shit on the movie. Go ahead.
Okay.
That movie's not as good as this one.
My favorite kill is I went with Charlie, and it's not that I dislike Ken Foray. The only character I kind of liked was Sheriff Waddell, and he killed the shit out of Charlie, so I picked that one. And I agree with Mike and Dustin. I don't know. I guess Brian might pick the same one too. My least favorite kill was the woman hit by the truck. All right, my positives of this movie was William Forsythe. It's funny I say he redeemed himself from being the shitty stepdad Ronnie somewhat, but this movie came out 2 years before that. But he redeemed himself.
Crying shit.
Yeah, I wrote the song choices throughout the film are really good, and I like Diamond Dallas Page and Danny Trejo. All right, my negatives: self-admitted, not a fan of Rob Zombie's horror movie style. The excessive cussing, nasty, sick dialogue, the exploitation of naked women and the shaky camera movements, when the characters are moving, is just annoying. I wrote this is torture porn personified. Just like the first half of Halloween, there's no likable characters really. I think Otis and Baby are annoying as hell, and Spaulding isn't much better. It's not my style, but I respect the cult following it has. And I don't even know if I want to read this part. The worst 6 words in horror movie history are written and directed by Rob Zombie. And
God.
My rating was a 3.75.
Oh my. Okay. Decision respected.
Because let me ask y'all something real quick. The scene where Otis gets back to the hotel room and he puts the woman's husband, her face on her face. How effective would that scene? Like, that was really, really good psychological torture. But how much more effective would that scene be if there wasn't that gross rape scene and all that before all that? Like, it takes me out of all of it.
Yeah, that's why the director's cut of Halloween 07 sucks. There's a fucking unnecessary rape scene in it. What's wrong with you, Rob?
And I apologize to any Rob Zombie and Devil Rejects fan. I'm just being honest.
You're supposed to hate the villains.
I hate everybody. I hate everybody, though.
You didn't hate Waddell.
I didn't love him. He fumbled the bag. He could have killed them all. And then Roy and Adam, how do you not kill Baby? You hit him in the back of the head with a log, and you still both get fucked up. Like, how do you fumble the bag like that? Anywho, go ahead, Brian. Dustin hates me. He won't hate you now.
No, it's okay.
So my favorite kill is actually the throat slash during that raid. I think it's DDP that slashed it, and I like it. And I've said this before. I really like a well done throat slash in horror movies, just because they can look so fake. So when it's well done, I really appreciate that. So that's why that's my favorite kill. My least favorite kill is the sheriff's neck break. Honestly, just because I wanted. I mean, if you're going to kill him, he's one of the main characters. I guess I wanted a more elaborate death, I guess. It's realistic. Absolutely agree with you. Tiny would have done that in a second, but I guess I wanted a more elaborate death for him. That's all. So, again, I kind of said a lot of my stuff in the opening. It's just this is a usual Rob Zombie film with the dialogue, and to me, it had some potential, honestly, and it wasn't as bad as I expected it to be. The over the top shit, like Nico said, I felt the same way I said at the beginning with it's too much. And, I've heard somebody say that this movie, before I even watched it, but somebody said that it was a good description of it would be like the first half of Halloween 2007 mixed with the first half of From Dusk Till Dawn, if you've seen that. And, that's probably not a bad analogy there. Again, elite soundtrack. But to me, that wasn't enough to really save it. And I know I joked about going a little bit higher than Nico, but I really did. I had a 4 written down for this. So it's just coincidence that happens to be a little bit higher. But yeah, I had a 4.
Okay. So I just want you guys to know I take nothing personal.
Same. I agree.
Same. I promise.
It don't bother me when people.
Yeah, we all
rate
have
my
preferences.
Movies.
We all have preferences. But like I said,
and before you go, Dustin, like Mike says, he's got the potential to direct one good, but it's like, does he really think why does every movie have to be like the white trashy, it's so over the top, every movie.
Except for Salem.
It's genuine to him, though. I mean, it's real.
He grew up in the circus or whatever, didn't he? He grew up in the traveling circus for a while, I thought, so that kind of makes sense. Sorry, go ahead, Dustin.
Oh, you're good. So my favorite kill, I'm going to go with what you said, Mike. Otis' scene in the desert with Adam and Roy. I mean, that's just such an effective scene as painting Otis as the devil. I mean, how much more demonic can you get than the blasphemy, the telling him to pray, and then just the quote right before he kills him. So that was very well done. Runner-up, though, was actually Tiny killing Waddell. If that scene had been built better, I think that I would have made that my favorite kill, just because it's so believable. I mean, with him being such a monster of a man, for him to just pick him up by his head and spin his neck like that, it was just brutal. Least favorite, yeah, the Wendy getting hit by the truck. Yeah, we've shit on that enough. My positives for the movie, I do appreciate Rob Zombie's willingness to continue to make films because it appears that more people hate his movies than love them, and I like them, so I appreciate that. The soundtrack is phenomenal. I think that, like I said, if your goal is to hate the villain, because too often than not, the lines between who are we supposed to cheer for gets blurred. There's never a doubt in your mind that you hate Otis and you want to see him die a horrible death. Same with Baby. She's annoying as shit, and she's twisted as well. Spalding, like I said, he's probably the most likable of the three, but he's still, like, he's part of the family. Fuck him too. He's disgusting. Kill them all. My dislikes, it's the same things that you guys said as far as dialogue. Like, there's certain things that could have been scripted better, left out even. Mike, what's that quote that you like about the flapping from the one movie? What was it?
Flappy titties.
Hey, this one has the exact same line. I had that wrote down, and this was in my nitpicks. So he says,
and choke the chicken and chicken
Yeah,
stuff.
he has to choke the chicken.
Yeah. So they're standing outside the motel, and he's like, her big old titties are flapping around. My titties don't flap. And it's like, as soon as I heard that when I was rewatching it, I was like, God, Mike is going to rip that apart. I'm surprised you didn't bring it up.
I thought about it. But
and then Roy, when he's praying, he's like, you better pray to your God that he strikes me down. Instead of praying for that, he prays that the little bunnies and birdies are blessed. And it's like, you can tell that Rob Zombie's never prayed a day in his life. Because,
No, sir.
But
He wrote a movie called The Devil's Reject.
but no, as far as dislikes, I mean, I really don't dislike much about this movie. This is one of my favorite movies. I'm going to bump our composite score way up, pals. 8.75. I love this movie. That brings our composite score for this week to a 5.75. Suck it.
Hey, see, the question I have is, you talk about we're supposed to hate the villains, but like people love, like the diehards love the Firefly family, like they love it.
They do.
Like I love them as character. Like, okay,
I think they just love Sid, Bill, and Sherry outside of the movie. I think that's what it is.
I think that's where I am.
Mm.
As far as their character work, I love them. But as far as their characters in the film, they're so despicable and disgusting and vile that you want bad things to happen to them. And then to just watch their journey of how they escape, they evade, and they continue to do so through these three, the first two movies in this series. I think that's the reason they have such a cult following. That's the reason I like them so much, is because it's like, how much more sick and twisted can they get? And Bill Moseley and Sid Haig acted their asses off, and Sherry Moon looked pretty.
Sherry Moon gets better, and I'm glad you said that. I want to close my thoughts with this. I feel like I shit on her really early, and rightfully so. Her acting in this movie is not good. And I'm not an actor, so I hate to say that, but
is it her acting or is it the direction?
I think it's her acting here in this movie. I think she does not act this. I just don't think the role is acted very well. It stands out very clear next to Bill Moseley and Sid Haig, who the least experienced is in the three. Like, I think that's very clear. However, over time, I do feel Sherry Moon Zombie has gotten better. I praise her in Halloween 07. I think she plays Michael Myers' mom really well there. And I don't know if anyone else has seen Salem, another Rob Zombie movie, but she's good. Her character work in that movie is also good. So haven't seen 3 from Hell. Don't know if she's, gotten worse or better or whatever, but I got to give her a little credit. Not here in this movie, but there are some other roles that Rob puts her in that I think she actually holds her own weight, except for Halloween 2, because she couldn't have saved that script to save her life. So
it's like the movie starts, and it starts with a dead woman naked getting drugged. It's like this is really how we're going to start this, huh? And then within another 5 minutes, there's another dead naked woman in Otis's bed. I was like, man, it's like, is this? I really feel like he's just a shock director, and I mean it works. I mean it works for him, but it's too much.
Well, the good news for him is that you guys appear to be in the minority because I just saw this I wrote down earlier. Movie had a $7 million budget, made 20.9 million, almost 3 times the budget.
Oh, of course it did, man.
It's got a following. There's no doubt. It's got a following.
And by the way, this movie does a great throat slash, like Brian says. Rob Zombie does good throat slashes. He does in about every movie that he makes, and they're really well done. Where Little Michael does the neck slash to William Forsythe in Halloween. That's fucking awesome. My favorite kill of the movie. So, good shit.
I don't know.
Go ahead, Brian.
I was just gonna bitch it because I cannot believe that this has a higher composite ranking than Blair Witch Project that we did. I'm so disappointed. I don't know.
I would have bumped that composite up as well if I'd have been on for that show.
There's a part of me that wants to re-rate that, but it's too late now.
I just think if he would just write his characters a little more likable, like you would just have so much more sympathy. Like the band, I would feel so much more for the band if the way they talk to each other just wasn't so just like. Does Rob Zombie think everybody just talks like that? Like, I was like, come on, man. I felt bad for Brian Posehn. Like, sorry. But anywho, I'm sorry to any Devil's Rejects fans and Rob Zombie stands. I'm sorry again. And I'm sorry if I pooped all over Dustin's pick. I didn't.
No, hey, that's fine. Do it again. I dare you.
He said, I dare you.
Does anybody have any final thoughts before we close this out?
No.
I'm good.
All righty. I enjoyed talking with you guys. It's good to just hang out with your buddies and just talk about stuff you have in common, even if you don't like it or disagree on it. We all do it cordially and somewhat professionally, I think. And we really appreciate everyone who's been listening. We really appreciate that. It's really a great honor to go on iTunes and see, that our show, our product is one of the top 5 on the iTunes search. That's really a great feeling. We really appreciate it. Y'all have a good night.
R.I.P. Sid Haig.
Rest in peace, Sid Haig and Matthew.
McGrory.
Rest in peace to both of those gentlemen.
#T.
And just want to remind everybody to don't go out there.